welcome to another episode of Wealth Up Holiday Adda, where we bring to you the stories of those who dared to dream. Today on our show, we have with us a very illustrated personality, none other than Dr. Nitin Sood. Dr. Sood, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you here today with us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Dr. Sood, if you could please start off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, I belong to a very small town called Shimla. I was born and brought up in Shimla, and after completing my PhD, I got into the private sector. So began my career with field research and development, then moved to marketing, gradually to business strategy, then to international business development and setting up of subsidiaries, and so it's been quite a exciting, I would say, times all this time, and it's been almost kind of more than 23 years now, and I think I've enjoyed every bit of it. Right now, based out of Mumbai.
So, Dr. Sood, you said that you've worked in so many different fields, and you've been working since the last 23 years in such a long and illustrious career.
Yeah.
So, were there any challenges that you faced? Shimla is such a beautiful, picturesque town, and then working in corporate and so many different areas. What were the challenges? What were your wins? If you could share that with us.
No, so I think Shimla was a small town, but I think we have there's a good base that is developed through the kind of schooling that Shimla provides, and I still vouch for that for all the kids. When I tell them that they should surely vouch for Shimla schools. But I think after I think the moment you get into the corporate life, of course, I think it's a job which teaches you. The more you get into, the more the challenges you take, the more you grow, the more you develop, and you learn to move around, you learn to deal with things. So I would say it has been quite an achieving career in that sense. I used to be a pure technical guy, and knowing nothing about marketing, sales, or anything. So when I started with field research and development, I never thought that I would be getting into those different roles. But my parents always taught me that whatever you do with your give your best to it. And while I was doing this field research and development role, and I was identified and picked up brought to the corporate office, from a field job to the corporate office, and I was given a new role, which was a marketing role. I became a product manager, and that was again a completely new space. But then I think it was also because I think it's both ways. The company culture was very good, and I was always wanting to learn new things. I think so during that time I worked around several new products. In fact, launched one of the major seed treatment products that exists today. It's a big product today, called by the name of Sprint. And so I'm talking of my field is more around agriculture sciences, mm-hmm. Right? So. Mm-hmm. And then, then I got further opportunities within the company every now and then. So, say for example, I was chosen for to be a part of the project management office parallelly. Then I got into all these things were basically shaping me up. And I would say when I got into the project management office, that was a time I would say that it was a steep learning curve for me, and that's how. I got to know various functions, various departments, how do they work, how the end-to-end value chain works really. So I think that has been really exciting time, and so I started with Indophil, then I worked in DuPont for some time, then got back to Indophil. I was called back for a very senior role, which was around business strategy, and then got into business strategy, we had some acquisitions, we got into integration of that business, and then got into international business development. So again, every time it was a new challenge, every time it was new learnings. But what's important is just stick to it and show up, and that's how it has been really. I think I would also say that all my seniors, all my teams, everyone has played a key role in shaping me up, I would say. And yes, I mean, I think every now and then we the next challenge was okay, we were doing international business, but we wanted to get into a kind of B2C model in certain countries. So having your own subsidiaries and working, so then I got into that kind of due diligence. So I believe it's more about the way you approach any problem, and give yourself fully to it, and it makes it happen.
Amazing. I mean, from research to marketing to strategy, you've really done it all. So throughout the years and working, so what was your relationship with money like through this entire journey?
Yeah. So that's an interesting question. So money, it's more like when and that's what usually tends to happen. And I would say when you get into your roles, daily roles in your job, right? So you tend to focus more around that. Rather, you would be working around the company P&L, you would be working around the product P&L, but perhaps you will be forgetting about your P&L,
own P&L,
right? So that's so natural that happens, right? And you generally, I mean, I never really got time to focus on these areas in terms of building my own wealth, so to say. But it was more like I was happy in the sense I was doing my work, but gradually this kind of financial literacy began to I would say this wave of financial literacy began to move around, and then when then I tried to understand, and okay, but you know that in your corporate life you generally do not get that kind of time when you really where you really that dedicated time to really focus on all this stuff. So what I used to do was someone telling me, hey, why don't you start one SIP? Hey, do you just invest in this? Okay, tell me what. All right. And I was doing just random things, and of course that's how it was progressing. And yeah, I mean, but then I think then came my long-time school friend Jaydeep. We had been like in constant touch with each other, but and in fact sometimes used to advise, and I was just like, yeah, we'll do that and all. But finally, I think Jaydeep played a key role in bringing bringing that whole perspective around money, so to say. And what a timing, when I was kind of struggling around this. Of course, I had done my bit of work, but then still was struggling around what should be the right way, what's the right way to do, grow money. And that's where Jaydeep came over, and he said nothing. Also, this wealth app thing was starting, and they were a bunch of some bright people, and I think I began with more confidence because of Jaydeep as a friend, school friend. We have been together since 7th, and that was how it began. But gradually, I could see the credibility that not only he brought in, but as a whole, this wealth app group kind of company brought in, and I could see. I would say, in other words, I would say that I was working for money all this time. Now I'm making my money work for me.
Amazing. So beautifully summed up.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Sood, for sharing your experience with us.
My pleasure.
So happy to have you here today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.